Okay, so it's actually been 2 weeks since my first chemo. I did think to record a video after 7 days, but I was feeling quite tired and I just pretty much wanted to just slouch on my sofa, and I kept on putting it off. And then I thought, okay, let's just record my journey at 2 weeks post chemo. So this is what's happened so far. So on the day of chemo, I got back home around 3 o'clock. I spent some time with my kids. I was feeling absolutely fine, no problems. The nurse actually told me that because I didn't have any food aversions or any cravings during my twin pregnancy, that I might be lucky and I might not have any food aversions or any nausea after chemo. So I was quite wishful. Around 6 o'clock, I was still feeling fine. So I told my husband that I wanted to have some McDonald's. So bless him, he went and got some McDonald's and he was back by 7. And I didn't feel like I wanted to eat McDonald's anymore. So the smell of it was actually making me feel quite nauseous. So I took some anti-nausea medication and I went to sleep. And I probably woke up around 2 o'clock in the morning feeling quite hungry. So I just had some fruits and that was it. And then I went back to sleep. My neck was actually still quite sore because I'd only had the port implanted on the Tuesday, and Thursday was when we used the port. The port didn't hurt when it was being used, but I think I can show you here. It's still healing a little bit, the cut here. That's not where the problem was. So the problem is I'm feeling some pain where from this incision to the port. So that little area, it kind of feels like it's pulling sometimes. So I was finding it a bit difficult to sleep, and that was fine. So with regards to port, it's still a bit sore, not the port as such, but just that little area between the incision and the port. So it kind of pulls at times. So that's one thing that I've been feeling the last 2 weeks. It's still a bit sore. With regards to food, I couldn't really eat much for the first week. After the first week, I decided to order some sushi and some teriyaki tofu, which is actually my favorite. But when the food arrived, I didn't really feel like eating it. So tofu, those of you that know me, tofu is my favorite. We can go to a restaurant and I am someone that would probably only order all of the tofu dishes on there, and tofu is my favorite. But since the chemo, I don't really like tofu as much as I did before, which is kind of weird. So I don't even feel like eating it. So that's something out of the ordinary for me. Also, on the day of chemo, I actually had some hummus and some salad from the hospital. And since then, I don't like hummus anymore, which is really weird. So I've started to notice that I'm losing some of my hair along here. I did actually think to just take the trimmer and just trim it down shorter so you can't actually see it as much. But then I thought if I do that, then you guys wouldn't be able to see how much hair is receding after each chemo session. So I've decided against that. I'm not going to do that. One thing that I was really interested to know when I was first diagnosed and I was watching other people's videos is I was really curious to see how much hair do you actually lose? Is it worth me taking off my hair? You know, like I don't want to have like really long hair and then have bald patches in between. So that was one thing that I was really curious to know when I was first diagnosed, how much hair do I lose? And I thought, well, if I've taken down my hair, then you wouldn't be able to see how much I'm losing, and it wouldn't be a true reflection of how much hair I'm losing during my chemo. So I've decided against that. I'm going to just let it, recede however it is so that you guys can see how it is. So I tend to be feeling like my head is itching sometimes, more so in the evenings. I feel that it's itching quite a lot. And then during the day, I tend to feel that my skin on my head is feeling quite sensitive. That's the only downsides. I have been feeling really, really tired. So for the first week, it was pretty much I'd wake up around 9 o'clock. I'd have breakfast, so something light, maybe a juice or something very light. And then by about 11 o'clock, I'd go back to bed and I'd sleep for a couple of hours. And then I'd wake up around 3 when my kids come home. And then I'd probably have my lunch at that time, a lunch if that. So it would just be like a juice or, some crackers or some fruits. So very, very small quantities of food is what I was having for the first week. I've been feeling like I'm kind of getting my appetite back. I'm still feeling a little bit tired. I have my high moments and low moments, if you can call it that. And that's about it for my first 2 weeks post chemo. I am going to see the oncologist on Friday. I think it's just to discuss, my next chemo, which will be on Thursday. And on the Wednesday, I'm going in to have my blood test done. So I'm a bit nervous about that blood test because 2 days ago, I had an asthma attack and I was finding it really, really difficult to breathe, and I had to use my inhaler, which I don't often use. So, and also I felt that there was, I had a bit of a chesty cough kind of thing, and I was unable to clear my throat. So, because the port, or I can't really say the port, the little incision near my neck, where you can see this predominant little pipe, is what I call it. I don't know what it's really called. I was feeling that it was really hurting when I was trying to cough. So that's one thing that was worrying me, was that it was hurting. So I actually called the nurses at the hospital and I said, oh, look, it's hurting. I wasn't sure if this is something normal that normally happens. I don't know if it's because I've been coughing and it's causing the pain. So she said that I should be able to move my head left and right without any problems, which I'm kind of teaching myself how to do that again. And the only thing that she said could cause any trouble is if I'm lifting things up from high places and like doing like a propeller motion with my arms. So I'm not sure what that meant, but anyway, but she said don't do any propeller motions with your arms. So I guess fanning, I don't know. So that's about it. My first 2 weeks of chemo.